education, and the British rule. After establishing political control over India, British felt that they had a cultural mission to civilize the native population. The spread of Western culture and education gave birth to new social consciousness in India. According to some scholars, the introduction of English education was the single most important factor in bringing about a great transformation of India in the 19th century. In 1783, a person named William Jones arrived in Calcutta. He was a linguist and knew Greek, Latin, French, English, Arabic, and Persian. He began spending many hours a day with Pandits who taught him Sanskrit. Soon, he was studying ancient Indian texts on philosophy, religion, politics, and medicine, and other sciences. Jones set up the Asiatic Society of Bengal to discover ancient texts and translate them. Traditional education in 19th century India. William Adams' report about education in Bengal and Bihar gives us an idea about the kind of education that prevailed in India in the late 18th century. He reported that there were about 1 lakh village schools in the region. There were elementary schools called Pathshalas for Hindus and Maktabs for Muslims. There were no printed books and teachings were done orally in the vernacular languages by gurus in the Pathshalas and Maulvis in the Maktabs. Children of wealthy families were often taught at home by paid tutors. A pupil's education was regarded as complete after he got the amount of knowledge thought necessary by the teacher. The system of education was flexible. Adam discovered that this flexible system was suited only to local needs. For instance, classes were not held during harvest time, when rural children often worked in the fields. Centers for higher education were few in numbers, and they were mostly patronized by rulers or nobles, and their students were mostly upper-class Hindus or Muslims. Hindus received higher education in tolls, kind of academy, where the medium of instruction was Sanskrit. Muslims received higher education in madrasas, where the medium of instruction was Persian. Among the subjects taught were law, mathematics, science, literature, and philosophy. However, the spirit of inquiry was not promoted. Hence, the students were not aware of the latest developments around the world. Trivia. Tolls referred to the traditional kind of school common in India before the British. Coming of the British and education. The English East India Company did not take any interest in education of Indians in the beginning. The need to learn English language was felt by a number of people in India. English traders also needed to learn the Indian languages for trade transactions. In the 18th century, Warren Hastings set up the Madrasa Aliyah to study Muslim law and related subjects, and in 1791, Jonathan Duncan started the Sanskrit school at Banaras for the study of Hindu law and philosophy. The British interest in education began in the second decade of 19th century. The government realized that it would be better to employ educated Indians, as it would drastically bring down the administrative costs. Moreover, such educated Indians under the influence of Western learning would be loyal to British government. They would easily accept British goods. Charter Act of 1813. As the first step towards the development of education in India, the British adopted the Charter Act of 1813, by which they sanctioned a sum of rupees 1 lakh for the development of education in India. There was a heated debate on the content and medium of education. One group, called the Orientalists, favored the study of traditional learning using vernacular languages. The other group, called the Anglicists, favored the study of Western learning through English as a medium of instruction. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the father of modern India, also advocated the Western learning. Ultimately, in 1835, the government decided in favor of the promotion of European literature and science among the Indians. Lord Macaulay, the architect of modern Western education in India, wrote a minute in support of the Anglicist. It was approved by Lord William Bentinck, the Governor-General of India. The Act of 1835 formally introduced English education in India. Following the decision, English was made the medium of instruction in the new schools and colleges opened by the government. In 1844, the government declared that English qualified Indians would be given preference in government jobs. As a result, the demand for English education grew very fast. The Christian missionaries helped in the spread of Western education. These missionaries did much humanitarian work by starting schools, dispensaries, hospitals, and homes for women and orphans. They advocated social and educational reforms. Christian missionaries established educational institutions which were attached to their churches in Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. These institutions were mainly opened with the purpose of training Indians to help the company's British officials in administration.